Hey y'all, it's Kate from LoveStory, and happy Monday. Today is October 19th. And this is going to be maybe a little bit longer check-in because I wrote down some notes from some of my thinkings. First, I have to show off my new organization in my bookshelf behind me. I absolutely love it, and I'm going to be doing a quick bookshelf tour after I tape this, but yay for new organizations. I love reorganizing my books. It's so much fun. So let's get into our reading vlog check-in for today, Monday, like I said. Our reading quote comes from one of my favorites, again, Joan Didion. It's from her book, Slouching Towards Bethlehem, and it's from the essay Los Angeles Notebook. I read this in 2013. This quote I marked down, and the quote says, "It is 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and 105 degrees, and the air so thick with smog that the dusty palm trees loom up with a sudden and rather attractive mystery." And I love this kind of description of LA and California in general. It's very vivid, and it sets the scene exactly as you need it. And the description of the palm trees looming with a sudden and attractive mystery is just fantastic. I love Joan Didion. Her writing is amazing. If you haven't read her yet, go read it. Like I've said before, I've done a nonfiction intro video where I talked about her a little bit. This week I'm going to be doing some more nonfiction videos that will be going up later this week. But she writes essays and memoirs, and I think fiction and also screenplays too. But this is an essay, I believe, and it's just fabulous. Anyways, getting on with our show, as you would say. So slowly making my way still again through Bleak House by Charles Dickens. I'm getting there. It's a slow trudge, but it's an interesting trudge. So, like I said last week, there feels like there's a couple different stories going on, which normally would confuse me and I would just want to stop reading. But I am intrigued by each one of the separate stories, so I'm reading just for those stories alone. My classes are so weird. Anyways, so we have finally gotten back to the character that was taken ill previously, several chapters ago. And spoiler alert, she has come out of it just fine, which is expected. But that was what I was kind of waiting to see. So now we'll see some of this other story develop, I think. So that was Bleak House check-in. Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. I'm still so much loving this book. I'm about 100 pages in now, and it's so fantastic. I love the narrator, I love the characters. It's kind of two separate stories going on, one that takes place in the past and one that's in the present day, and the present day is actually filming a video of the story from the past. So that's a really interesting twist that we don't often get. Or ever, maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard of a story like that before. But another thing that I'm loving about this is the direct addresses to the reader, which reminds me of Jane Eyre, and the whole tone overall is very Jane Eyre-esque. And so I love Jane Eyre, and I love this Plain Bad Heroines. This comes out tomorrow, I believe. It's supposed to come out, be released. I got an art copy, which is just brilliant. I've talked about this before, so I won't go into detail about it again. But it is supposed to release to the masses tomorrow, the 20th. So go check it out. I love it so far. It's a fantastic writing, fantastic story. LGBT horror for Halloween is great. So that was Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. I am slowly making my way through Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. and I am nearing the end, less than 100 pages to the end, so hopefully maybe today, maybe tomorrow I'll finish that, and I'll have a check-in when I do. So this has taken some very unexpected turns. While I was reading it, I had a feeling that there was going to be some kind of a surprise at the end, but I didn't expect this at all. And also now I'm so confused by Dr. Jordan. Like, are we supposed to now not like or trust him, or what's going on with this whole exposition about him? I'm so confused, but I'm gonna keep reading to see what happens, and I can't wait to reach the end. I was on Discord last night talking about it with others, and I'm like, I'm really enjoying this book, but it's going so slow that I can't. It's like I want to get to the end. It has the feeling of a book that I'm not enjoying, but I am actually enjoying this story and reading it. So it's like that weird middle ground where you just want to get to the end, but you're actually enjoying it. So it's a weird book for me. This morning I started listening to the audiobook of White Rage, The Unspoken Truth of Our Racial Divide, written by Carol Anderson, and the audiobook is narrated by Pamela Gibson, and this is basically a critical look at racial tension history in the United States, going all the way back to 1865 when the 13th Amendment, the abolishment of slavery, was passed, and going forth to Ferguson, Missouri, and the Michael Brown murder. I think this is published in 2016, if I can remember right. So I'm only one part into it. Like I said, I just started this morning, but this will be a slow read. I think it's a quick book, but a slow and important read. And this morning I also started Mistborn, The Final Empire. This is my first Brandon Sanderson read, and I'm so excited. Like I've said before, I saw so many people talking about Brandon Sanderson on BookTube. Two of my favorite booktubers, Murphy Napier and Elliot Brooks, rant and rave about Brandon Sanderson books. So I thought I would give it a shot and go in, because I wanted to read more fantasy anyway, so I thought this would be a good place to start. And I've only made it so far through the prologue because I only started just this morning. But so far, my notes, I loved the prologue. I think it's one of the best prologues I've ever read. And usually I'm not a fan of prologues. I'm just like, why don't you just start the story there? But this prologue was great. I love all the details that Sanderson puts into his writing. And I'm going to take this book slow because I've been told on Discord that Sanderson takes a lot of time building his world, and so it's a bit of a slow start. So I'm looking forward to learning all about this new world and this magic system and seeing what Brandon Sanderson is all about. But anyways, that's my check-in for today, Monday, October 19th, and I will see you all tomorrow on Tuesday. Have a great day. Bye. Hey y'all, just checking in on Tuesday, October 20th? Somehow we're still in October, somehow we're still in 2020. This has felt like the longest year ever. So, anyways, moving on. So our reading quote today comes from In Cold Blood, a classic. If you haven't read it, go and read it. Also watch the movie, but read the book first, because you should always read the book first before watching the movie. This reading quote I read in 2013, like a lot of others. It says, "A ghost behind the glass," which is, I think, like, it's been a long time since I read it, but I think it's referring to someone looking in the mirror, which makes sense for this quote. Currently still working my way through Bleak House and Plain Bad Heroines. I'm loving it. White Rage I started yesterday. Really real. Gives you those details that you don't get in history class. And Mistborn, I'm still making my way through this, but I'm actually going to do a separate reading vlog for this, I think. So more on that later. Last night I finally finished Alias Grace, and I'm going to do a separate review on this too. I gave it 3.5 stars. The story was good, but it got confusing at times, and I still don't really know what the truth is. This is a bibliotherapy book for one of the best 10 novels to turn your female partner onto fiction. And so once I finished Alias Grace this morning, I started Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I know I totally butchered that name, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it. Someone please correct me in the comments. This is a story about a Pamela and Adichie are young and in love when they depart military-ruled Nigeria for the West. Beautiful, self-assured Pamela heads for America, where despite her academic success, she is forced to grapple with what it means to be black for the first time. Quiet, thoughtful Adichie had hoped to join her, but with post-9/11 America closed to him, he instead plunges into a dangerous, undocumented life in London. 15 years later, they reunite in a newly democratic Nigeria and reignite their passion for each other and their homeland. So that's the summary of Americanah, which I just started today. I'm liking it so far, but I'm only a couple pages in, so we'll see how it goes. It's supposed to be fantastic. Anyways, that's my check-in for today, Tuesday, October 20th. Just really quickly, look for the review for Alias Grace coming, and the separate reading vlog for Mistborn. That will be probably posted once I'm done reading the whole book, but that is to come later. Anyways, that's my check-in. We'll see. Happy Tuesday, everyone, and hang in there. Bye. Hey y'all, just checking in. It's Wednesday, October 21st, hump day. And I don't have much to really check in. I'm still reading the same books, still enjoying them all. But I wanted to give you our reading quote today. And first, I went and looked up the book that a lot of these reading quotes come from. And so Discovering You is an unexpected romance book. I read it in 2013 and I loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. Said it was a near 5-star book, but not quite. So today's quote comes again from Discovering You, and it says, "A cold shadow fell over his heart." And that's a sad quote. I've felt that before. I think a lot of people have. A lot of people can relate. But onto our reading. Still reading Bleak House. Slowly making my way through there. Things are starting to become interesting again. So we'll see. Starting to hint at stuff that I kind of knew was gonna come to an end, but we'll see how that wraps up. Probably not this week because I'm still got several hundred pages to go, but maybe next week. Making my way through Plain Bad Heroines, which is still really fantastic. Still loving it so much. White Rage is, wow, surprising how real and detailed this book gets. I listened to some details yesterday of lynchings and killings that I did not expect Carol Sanderson to go into that much detail about. Like I've said before, this is that kind of Black history, U.S. history that all of our classes leave out. And now it's important to know, especially in the climate that we have right now in the U.S. And I'm also making my way through Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Again, butchering her name, I'm sorry. Someone please correct me so I can say it right. And now we've kind of met both of the main characters that are described in the description. And so I'm interested to see where we go with this, because I think based on the description, based on what I've read so far, we're kind of in the future, and I'm guessing we're going to go back in time to when these two characters fell in love, because from what we have right now, it's they're not in love. It sounds like it's in the future from the description, so I'll be interested to see how we go back to this story. And don't forget, I'm still reading Mistborn, still loving it, but I have a separate reading vlog for that. So anyways, that's my very quick check-in for October 21st. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye. Hey y'all, just checking in on Thursday, October 22nd. I just have a couple quick notes for today. I'm still reading all the same books. Hope to be finished soon with some of them. But first we'll start with our reading quote from my reading history. This is from 2017. The book about a mountain, which is a nonfiction book by John Degata. The quote says, "You wonder what you'll do when you reach the edge of the map. Out there on the horizon, all that neon beckoning, you inform the dark." And I just love that quote because the imagery that it paints. John Degata is a master with painting scenes in your head with nonfiction. So that quote I read in 2017 about a mountain. Still reading Bleak House and Plain Bad Heroines, and I like this mixture of the two books because they're so different from each other. So when I get bored with one, I switch to the other, and it keeps me engaged in both books, weirdly. White Rage is still going strong on the audiobook. I hope to be finished with that either by the end of this week, by the time I post this on Saturday. Americanah, I'm liking this book, but I'm liking to see the background of our main character, but we didn't get much warning when we went into it, so at first I thought it was just like a quick flashback, a memory, but then it kept going for pages and pages and pages, so I'm not sure where it's going. But I still like seeing that background and learning about the character and her upbringing. And one of the things that I like reading about a book like Americanah is that it talks about a totally different culture than what I was raised in, what I know. So I'm learning about the African culture, and that's part of what the fun of reading is. You get to learn about new cultures and new places. So I'm really enjoying that. And if you're looking for notes on Mistborn, check out the other reading vlog I've started on that. But that's my quick check-in for today, and I'll catch you all later. Hey y'all, happy Friday, October 23rd. Just checking in really quick because I was so exhausted last night. I didn't get much reading done, but I did get a lot of reading done during the day, and finished a book. But first, let's get to our reading quote from my reading history, and that comes from, again, Discovering You. I promise we'll get past this phase soon. So the quote says, "The shadows are poor company on Christmas Eve." And if anyone has ever spent a holiday alone, especially a holiday like Christmas or Christmas Eve, then they know exactly what this quote is talking about. It just hit that loneliness button so much. So still reading Bleak House and Plain Bad Heroines, still enjoying both. Not much to update there. Still reading Americanah, same. Everything is the same except for White Rage, which I finished listening to the audiobook yesterday. And wow, that book is so real, so amazing. Gives you that history that you don't get in history class. And everyone should be reading it right now to see what really happens. I'll have another review, a longer review about White Rage coming soon, hopefully maybe tomorrow, Sunday. But anyways, that is my very quick check-in for today. This week has been a slow reading week because like I've said, I'm reading a lot of long books, and I have a lot going on with school and work and everything, so it's a slow week, but I still like to check in with y'all and let you know that I'm still reading and provide these reading quotes because everyone loves quotes from reading. So happy Friday and have a great weekend, and we'll see you all tomorrow on Saturday. Bye. Hey y'all, it's Saturday, October 24th, and checking in one last time for this week. Today's reading quote is actually from October 23rd. I had switched the dates yesterday, so I'm switching them back. So today's reading quote comes from one of my favorites that you've heard me talk about many times, Joan Didion. It's from her essay and book, The White Album. I actually read it in a giant collection of her nonfiction called We Tell Ourselves Stories in Order to Live, and that's actually the quote for today. We tell ourselves stories in order to live, and that quote fueled my MFA thesis. I discovered Joan Didion while writing my thesis in nonfiction, and it fueled me through there, and it became a staple and one of the quotes that I had at the beginning of my thesis. And so that has a lot of sentimental memories for me. And you'll hear me talk more about Joan Didion later when I talk about essays for nonfiction in November. So my current reads, Bleak House by Charles Dickens. I'm making my way slowly through this. I hope to finish it this coming week because I'm less than halfway now. I'm about 70% of the way through there now. But one of the things that's become interesting in Bleak House is that now we're starting to see Esther's story really start to develop. For the first half of the book, she was kind of that side character, sidekick to Ada, and it was just poor Esther this, poor Esther that. But now her story is really starting to develop and she's becoming more essential and important to the story, so I'm excited to see where that goes. Plain Bad Heroines by Emily Danforth. I'm loving to see the idea of Mary McLean's book developing. At first, it seemed like it maybe was just the words in the book were influencing these young girls, but now I'm starting to see that maybe it's something more than just the words. Maybe it's a magical book or a cursed book or something that we haven't yet seen, but the author Emily Danforth is kind of hinting that it's going to be something more than just the influence of words. Still reading Americanah, and if you want to see my thoughts on Mistborn by Brandon Anderson, don't forget to check out that separate reading vlog for that. And that's it for this week. I think let's go back. I finished, I think 3 books I finished. 2 books maybe? 2 books I think. So for what felt like a slow week, it's actually not bad. Alias, Grace, and White Rage. So it's been, like I said, a slow week because these are long books and it's been a crazy busy week for me. But I hope to get through more of these books next week, and I'll have more to check in with you soon. Have a great weekend, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.